Now that was a troll. That was definitely a clickbait title of this video, because I'm not talking about adopting some misogynistic manifesto endorsed by hypermasculine cowards. No, I'm talking about taking actual red pills. You see, my new prescription for Wellbutrin, or actually bupropion, no, sorry, bupropion. I always say that one wrong, which is the generic term for Wellbutrin, has gone from 75 milligrams per day to 100 milligrams twice a day to 100 milligrams twice a day, and these are red. The 75s are orange. So now I have a deep red, deep red pill. In fact, it's a really cool color. Let me get you one out there. I kind of like this. Really cool color red. I kind of like that red. It's not quite brick red. I don't know what it is, but I like it. And I've been on it for a few days now, and I actually have been able to see, or feel, I should say, a difference. I guess maybe see a difference, because, it is my behavior that's being modified. As I've got more serotonin in my brain. In fact, I was able to break something down in a way that I had not been able to break it down in the past, and that is trying to make the effort, trying to find a mechanism, I should say, for separating genuine frustration from anger. Now, I freely admit that there are types of anger in life that are perfectly acceptable. You're angry at the red pillars? Awesome, you should be. You're angry at the white nationalists? Cool. At the homophobes, the transphobes, the Islamophobes? Awesome. Be angry at them. Those big issues, if you're not angry, you are part of the goddamn problem. But I'm talking about things on a personal level. The type of anger that is just going to eat you up inside and leave you a hollow, depressed shell, and will kill you. Anger can kill you. I mean, eventually it's going to have a massive negative impact on your health. So one of the things that I am triggered by is frustrations. When I get frustrated, I get angry. And that's one of the reasons I'm on antidepressants. And thanks to the increase in this, was able to come to the realization that when I'm frustrated, I get angry. Why do I get angry? Because if I get angry at a person or a thing, obviously that person or thing is deserving of that anger because I got angry. It's just self-evident, isn't it? That if I get angry at those things or those people, that they deserved my anger, because if they didn't deserve my anger, obviously I wouldn't be angry. And that absolves me of responsibility for any part I play in the frustration. So if I become frustrated by someone else's actions, that's on me. I'm not saying that their actions are good, but that's when it's on a personal level. Often they aren't. I constantly deal with people at work on a previous shift who screw me over every goddamn day. And being frustrated with them is perfectly acceptable. Absolutely understandable that I get frustrated at them for not doing their jobs and not caring that they're dumping extra work onto another person. Getting angry about it, though, is not going to help the situation, because as the Buddha said, getting angry is like swallowing poison and expecting your enemy to die. It's going to kill you, not going to hurt the other person. So this weekend, I was doing something in my shop, and I found myself really frustrated with the situation at hand, because something that I projected would be simple. Never do that. Don't forecast. Forecasting is not going to help you. And I found myself frustrated, and I immediately became angry. I mean, I tensed up, jaw clenched, and I was ready to the behavior was ready to launch, and I stopped it, and I just said out loud, frustration is okay, anger isn't. And then I began to just out loud figure out what was going on. Like, okay, you need to do this and you need to do that. And some of it was controlling my environment. So like, okay, you're not using these tools, move these tools out of your immediate work area, put them on the workbench. So you're limiting the things I had in my environment that could potentially make things more complicated. And then I began to realize, okay, this is what's going on. So we can address this situation, or we can continue to be frustrated. And the situation at that minute was that I was installing 4 bolts in something and mounting a vise on something, and a new bench I'm building, and 2 of them went in, absolutely perfect, and the other 2 weren't. I couldn't figure out why. I think it was my fingers are too fat because it was a fairly tight space. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I put the 2 nuts I was trying aside, grabbed 2 new nuts, still were not working. And my brain finally realized that, even though you don't want to do this, because getting those 2 bolts into those holes was difficult, take the 2 bolts out and examine them. So I did. I removed the 2 bolts, looked at them, and lo and behold, out of the 4 bolts I had for this project, for this particular application, 2 were good and 2 were bad, and it just happened to be that the first 2 ones I put into the vise were good, and the other 2 weren't. So I took them to my belt sander, and I put a big chamfer on the end, so I knocked off the couple of threads that weren't good. Zimp, nuts went on without a problem. Finished the assembly, and now I'm being frustrated by putting new jaw liners on the vise, because the vise didn't come with jaw faces, so I'm putting jaw faces on them, and the first one went on like a dream, and I'm having a really hard time with the second one, and I found myself so frustrated, and it was fairly late in the day, so I just put the jaw right on the table, and I said, I'll come back to this next week. And so I will. Next week I will address this. I think I might have found a solution that I was able to think of when I was not confronted with the frustration. But one of the reasons I have been able to separate frustration, which is often legitimate, it's okay to be frustrated by something, from the anger, and it's not okay to do that because it's just going to hurt you, or in my case me, is that I've got more serotonin in my brain. And that lets me have a degree of clarity. I've likened it to clearing up RAM inside your brain. I'm clearing up more space so that I have more active memory to process what's going on in my head. It isn't altering my overall memory. It's just saying that there's a whole lot of crap in there that needs to get flushed out of the way. And with the serotonin, I can do that. I can clear more operational space inside my brain because I've got serotonin. So, in short, everybody has serotonin. Some of us have enough, and we will never experience clinical depression, at least not long term. I'm not saying that you couldn't encounter life events that put you into a clinically depressed state, but you're not likely to stay in it forever if you have the correct amount of serotonin in your brain. If you get the right kind of help, maybe you'll be able to get over it even faster. But some of us don't produce enough serotonin. And no matter how much we want it, no matter how much we would really like to think our way through it, we can just charge ahead, the whole bootstrap line of bullshit. Yeah, it's not going to happen. You are never going to bootstrap your way out of clinical depression if your brain doesn't have enough serotonin in it. I know I live in chaos. The mess behind me is not something I'm happy about. But as the serotonin in my brain goes up, I'm becoming more aware of the situation. I've actually begun to become more organized. I've edited my toolboxes here. I have 3 toolboxes here in my office, and I have a file cabinet, 4-drawer cabinet, which is full of stuff. I've edited that. So I've edited things out and got rid of some stuff. In fact, I actually have to edit the box. I sorted some more because there are things I can just chuck, I think, and the rest I'm going to bundle up into a toolbox and just give away to somebody. But I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have gotten to the point where I realized, I want this area to be more organized without that ability. I recently built a new camera boom, And the new camera boom is going to mean that I can set up my camera so I can do videos on my review table that you sometimes see behind me in these videos in about 30 seconds, as opposed to the old camera boom I had, which was a very convoluted process and it took like 10 minutes to set up. And it's the new one's 2 pieces. The old one was multiple pieces, and which I am now going to be able to break down and recycle, because I discovered that you can actually recycle PVC tubing, and that's what it's made out of, PVC piping. So that's awesome. I'll be able to get rid of some stuff that I don't need, and I'll be able to set up a camera faster so I can do the things I want to do. And there are things in my office that now that I have that camera rig, I'll be able to get to and then process them and then move them on. Because there's stuff that I want to review that I don't necessarily want to keep. Like a lot of my gear, like the knives, I keep the knives for the most part. But a lot of the other gadgety things I do, I don't keep them. And like a lot of the books you'll see me doing, and when I have, I do a flat review, a review of a big book on a table, so I'm flipping pages. Like I did a bunch of monster books like that, which are inordinately popular. I don't quite know why. And when I'm done with those, I don't keep them. In fact, I gave all of them away to a 6-year-old who apparently loves them. I'm really happy that he loves them. I don't even know the kid. My wife's like, they have a 6-year-old son. I said, here, take some monster books to this kid. So having the serotonin has got me into a space to understand that my environment is chaotic and I want to get the environment less chaotic. So I'm hoping that I will be able to do that at a more rapid rate than I have in the past. It's not easy, and it's never going to be easy for me, but it's easier with the serotonin. So I've blathered on long enough about the red pill, which was a complete troll, a complete clickbait. I freely admit this. And the value of making sure that your brain has the chemicals it needs so you can think the way you want to think, and you can process things the way you want to process, and you cannot be angry when anger is not the suitable response. You want to get angry at white nationalist alt-right boys, the little Proud Boys? Have at it. Wear your Black Lives Matter shirt just to piss them off. I wear masks that say Black Lives Matter and Black Trans Lives Matter, and oh, the Proud Boys hate them. I get the dirtiest goddamn looks when I have those things on, and I love every second of it because I'm an old white dude, and it confounds them as well as makes them angry. And if I can twist their little warped minds just a little bit, that makes my day better. Alrighty, so let's all do what we can to make sure we have the right brain chemicals. And if you don't have the right brain chemicals because of genetics, don't feel bad about getting store-bought brain chemicals, because store-bought is better than nothing at all.